Good afternoon to each and every one of us who is present in this meeting today. We, Group 4, will present to you the DECS or the Department of Education, Culture and Sports Order Number 11, Series of 1987. But before anything else, let me first introduce to you our presenters for today's discussion. We have Mr. Ralph Gabia, Miss Carrie Gabriel, Miss Mika Gapos, and me, Lay Garciliano. Let us start this discussion with the objectives. At the end of the discussion, you will be able to first identify what text order number 11, series of 1987 is, to discover the implications of text number 11, series of 1987 to anyone and everyone, but especially to the existing and upcoming teachers. And here we go. DECS number 11 order series of 1987 was issued in pursuance to Section 3 of Republic Act number 8190, known as an act granting priority to residents of the barangay, municipality, or city where the school is located in the appointment or assignment of classroom public school teachers. The orders and policy that we have been discussing since last week are extremely important for people to be aware of, particularly students and future educators, because they will provide information about the importance of first language acquisition and why it should be strengthened. First or native language aids in better understanding of certain topics, whether simple or complex. This order, or the DECS Order number 11, series of 1987, provides the guidelines to be followed in hiring teachers, where it clearly stated that the first priority shall be the residents of the barangay where the public elementary or secondary school is located. This allows students and teachers to use local language, specifically where local culture should be enhanced in cultural minorities. Now, to continue the discussion, let me call on Miss Mika Gapos.
Thank you, Miss Leanne. So, good afternoon, everyone. And now I'm going to be discussing about the rules and regulations of this policy. Section 1, Definition of Terms. As used herein, the following terms shall be understood to mean. First is the term teacher. Teacher shall refer to a person who meets the minimum requirements of the position and possesses the appropriate license to teach in a public elementary or secondary school, who does actual classroom teaching, and who is in the registry of the school division. Next term is the bona fide president. President shall refer to a teacher who has resided in a particular barangay, municipality, city, or province where the school is located for a period of at least 6 months prior to appointment. Next term is secretary. Secretary shall refer to the DECS secretary. Regional director. Regional director shall refer to the DECS regional director. Next is the term protest. Shall refer to the administrative complaint filed by an aggrieved teacher or the complainant regarding an appointment or assignment of a teacher made by an appointing or assigning authority. Next is the term appointment. Appointment shall refer to the issuance of appointments covering original appointment, promotion, transfer, reinstatement, or reemployment. Next is the term assignment. Shall refer to the posting of a teacher in a public elementary or secondary school. And lastly, the term registry. It refers to the list of teacher applicants maintained in all schools divisions, containing the names and addresses of teachers and the school and its location prepared by them for appointment or assignment, which shall be updated from time to time. Next is the Section 2 or the coverage. These rules and regulations shall apply to appointment or assignment of teachers in all public elementary and secondary schools under DECS. Next is the Section 3, which is the filling of vacant positions of teacher in public elementary or secondary schools. So the vacant positions of teachers in public elementary or secondary schools shall be filled up by appointment or assignment of teachers who meet the minimum qualifications for the position by bona fide residents in the order of priority as follows. So the first priority shall be for residents of the barangay where the public elementary or secondary school is located. Second priority shall be for residents of the municipality where the public elementary or secondary school is located. And the third priority shall be for residents of the city or province where the public elementary or secondary school is located. Next is the Section 4, which is the Registry of Teachers. Upon approval of these rules and regulations, teachers who are interested to be appointed or assigned to a public elementary or secondary school located in the place where they are bona fide residents may send their written applications together with the necessary documents to the school principal concerned, who shall verify and certify as to the correctness and authenticity of the documents submitted, including the certification of place of residence. He or she shall in turn forward the applications to the school's division superintendent, whose office is required to maintain a registry of teachers. The latter shall determine whether or not to appoint or assign a teacher. Next is the Section 5, new teachers. New teachers who are not yet in the service as public elementary or secondary school teachers, but who are interested to be appointed as such, shall apply to the principal of the public elementary or secondary school located in the barangay, municipality, city, or province where they are residents. He or she shall verify and certify as to the correctness and authenticity of the documents submitted, and shall in turn forward their applications to the school's division superintendent. The school's division superintendent shall include their names in the registry of teachers from which priority in appointment or assignment shall come. Next is the Section 6 or the right of protest. Teachers whose names appear in the registry of teachers in schools division office shall have the right to protest an appointment or assignment of a teacher in a public elementary or secondary school provided in second paragraph of Section 1 RA 8190. Such protest shall be subscribed and sworn to and filed in triplicate copies in the regional office concerned. Next is the Section 7 or the procedural requirement of a protest. The protest of an aggrieved teacher against an appointment or assignment of a teacher shall be in the form of a letter complaint. It shall be filed with the regional office. It shall be filed with the regional office concerned within 90 days from the issuance of the appointment or assignment. Upon receipt of the complaint, the regional director within 72 hours shall furnish a copy of the complaint to the appointing or assigning official, who shall have 15 days to answer the allegations thereof, furnishing the complainant a copy. The complainant shall have 15 days to submit or refute the answer of the appointing or assigning authority. On the basis of the answer of the complainant and the respondent, the regional director shall have 15 days to make the decision, subject to appeal initially to the secretary and finally to the Civil Service Commission. Next is the Section 8, which is the sanctions. Administrative sanctions for any willful violations of RA 8190 shall be imposed as follows. So the first violation is suspension of 1 month without pay. Second violation is suspension of 2 months without pay, and the third violation and subsequent violations is suspension of 6 months without pay. And lastly is section 9, effectivity. These rules and regulations shall take effect on the date of its approval. So that's all for the rules and regulations. May we call on Mr. Ralph Gabia for to continue the presentation.
So thank you for that, Miss Micah Gapos. Now, I am Ralph Renson Gabia, and in this slide, I will talk about the goals of the DECS number 11 series of 1987. Well, the first one is to sustain, reinforce, and expand our native languages. The DECS number 11 series of 1987 wants to strengthen our native languages since native languages are the spirit of the national identity. As Ms. Leanne Garciliano said earlier, this order gives instructions on how to hire instructors or teachers, specifically stating that locals of the barangay where the public elementary school operates must be given preference in order to accommodate for the use of local language. The endeavor to preserve the native tongue must come from this group if it is to have a strong base of native or naturalized potential speakers. Maintaining your original language ability is important for a variety of reasons, including personal, social, intellectual, educational, and financial ones. However, I will give more focus on the two reasons, which are the personal and social. In the category of personal, the child's first language is critical to his or her identity. Maintaining this language helps the child value his or her culture and heritage, which contributes to a positive self concept. In social, when the native language is not maintained, important links to family and other community members may be lost. By encouraging native language use, parents can prepare the child to interact with the native language community. Many of our native languages would face extinction if we fail to reinforce and expand them through the implementation of this order. An act granting priority to residents of the barangay, municipality, or city where the school is located, and the appointment or assignment of classroom public school teachers. Language is not only part of our culture and history, but also an important aspect of our identity as a nation, said by Lauren Legarda, an advocate of Philippine art and culture promotion. So the second one is to lay the groundwork for learning English and other international languages, which allows use of local language specifically where local culture should be enhanced in cultural minorities. So academics and other school administrators are coming up with approaches to employ local language to support simultaneous acquisition of English and international language learning. This strategy might encourage um, intercultural communicative competence among Filipino students so they can converse with people in other countries as well as within their own nation, where national minorities should value native culture more. And now I will give the floor to Miss Kauri Gabriel.
Thank you, Mr. Gabia. Now I'm Angela Ancauri A. Gabriel. So let's move on to the aims of the policy. The first one is that the use of local language should be used to enhance local culture in cultural minorities. So the main factor affecting the implementation of DECS Order Number 11 Series of 1987 in the Philippines, as stated in the description of this program, is the enhancement and preservation of local culture in cultural minorities by the use of local languages. So we have to note that this program provides guidelines which allows the use of local language, specifically where local culture should be enhanced in cultural minorities. So when we say local culture, it is the set of behaviors, beliefs, and customs that exist in a particular area or locality, while cultural minority is an ethnic, religious, or linguistic minority in any group of persons which constitutes less than half of the population in the entire territory of a state whose members share common characteristics of culture, religion, or language, or a combination of any of these. In the Philippines, according to the World Directory of Minorities and Indigenous People, the main minority groups here are Tagalog, Bisaya, Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon, Bicol, Waray, and other local ethnicities. Some 70 minority groups are considered to be indigenous. Each of these have different specified classifications of culture and language that can only be fully understood from the citizen of the specific locality. Thus, prioritizing to appoint or assign classroom public school teachers from their own locality, such as from their own barangay, municipality, or city, can contribute in maintaining their own culture since they are the ones who are practicing and valuing this culture. Thus, they're more likely to apply and pass down these cultures to their students. Therefore, it will contribute in preserving the culture of each locality. Moreover, less teaching interaction from different cultural background can prevent adapting other culture, resulting in focusing and enhancing the local culture of this specific cultural minority. Now let's move on to the second aim of the policy, which is the inspire, aspiration of the Filipino nation for its citizen is for them to be competent enough in both academic and practical application to perform their functions and duties in order to meet the country's needs in the community, nation, and internationally. The Philippines is a multilingual country which has more than 180 languages. Each have different qualities that can only be fully understood from the specific locality. Therefore, the use of common language of both students and teachers as a medium of instruction in school will enable the student to better understand what is being explained or the lesson, since children have already developed this first or common language which they acquired it from their family members and interactions from their locality. Since this is the language that the children use for basic communication at the earliest ages, thus it may be considered as the child's thinking language or their foundation of language. Therefore, the implementation of DECS Order Number 11 Series of 1987, which is prioritizing to appoint or assign the classroom public school teachers from their own locality will help further developing the skills of children such as in reading, listening, speaking, writing, numeracy, sensory perceptual, socio-emotional, motor, creative skills, and other skills by using their local language since local teachers have better understanding in their particular language or their local cultural minorities than those import teachers. For instance, if a Waray classroom public school teacher will be assigned in Marawi, there will be a lot of adjustment for both teacher and students in able to understand one another since the first language of the teacher which he uses while growing up is different from his students. They may be using a common language which are Filipino or English and English. However, it is more likely that they are both not proficient and competent enough in using these languages since these aren't their first language. Moreover, studies show that in many instances, observations of teachers come up that they predominantly use the local language in most of the lessons so that children, specifically in non-Tagalog areas, will understand the lesson. So what do you think will be the result if the teacher are not proficient in the first language of students since he doesn't grow up from that locality? The teaching will be less effective. Unlike if the government will assign teachers from their own locality who shares common first language with their students. It will be a lot easier and more effective. And as we know, language has a crucial role in especially in the field of teaching. Thus, this is a huge factor for pushing the implementation of DECS Order Number 11 series of 1987. And that's all. Thank you po.
Okay, so we will end our discussion here. Thank you for listening and have a nice day. Thank you.